You're now going to give evidence before the court, and in doing so, you are obliged to tell the truth. And this implies telling everything you know and not to conceal anything. And you must also state if you are uncertain or if you don't remember. It's a punishable offense to lie to the court. I will ask you to make an affirmation that the evidence you are about to give is the whole truth and nothing but the truth. So I ask you, do you affirm that you will tell the plain truth and the whole truth and not conceal anything? If so, repeat after me. I do so solemnly affirm.
I do solemnly affirm, Your Honor.
Thank you. You may be asked questions from Craig Wright's legal team, and the other party may have some questions, and I might have some questions after that. Vær så god, Helle.
Takk for det. Good morning, Mr. Yousuf. Could you please start by giving the court a very brief overview of your education?
My name is Shoaib Yousuf, and I have studied Master of Information System Security and Master of Information Technology from Chartered University. I specialize in digital technology strategy and cybersecurity, and this is the field I've been working for more than 17 years.
You have already told the judge that you are a partner with Boston Consulting Group in Dubai. What is your areas of specialty?
I lead cybersecurity, digital and technology transformation related topic within the firm.
Could you tell the court when you first met with Dr. Wright?
In 2016, I was enrolled in a Master in Information System Security course in Chartered University. And in one of my subject, Craig was my classmate in one of my module. And in my another subject, he was my lecturer. So during my online correspondence on my subject, I interacted with Craig. And this is how I met Dr. Craig Wright during my studying at the Chartered University.
I didn't catch the year you mentioned. Which year was this?
2006.
Where was Craig Wright working at that time?
Craig was working at BDO, working and leading cybersecurity and risks related topics.
What was Dr. Wright like? How would you describe him?
So while I was actually studying at the university, we found out that I was based out of Port Macquarie, which is 4 hours from the Sydney Central. And during our correspondence, I found out that Craig spent his weekends in Port Macquarie, where he has a farm. And I immediately kind of, mentioned to him that I'm there, and we started meeting. In my few interaction, I was super impressed. First of all, with my understanding that in one of my subject, he's my classmate. In another subject, he's teaching me. He's a tutor there. And I found out that he has studied quite a few degrees from the Chartered University, and he is highest kind of a topic, and he has achieved over 70 plus certification in cybersecurity. Pretty much whatever you can think of, he has completed the certification, and he is spending so much time in research. And I was so impressed with his intellectual, his depth of knowledge, his expertise, his credential, that I started kind of using him as my mentor.
Did you visit him at his farm?
Yes. After we both found out.
What was that like? What was your impression of the place he stayed at that time?
Yes, as soon we both found out that that he has a farm near Port Macquarie, and I'm based out of Port Macquarie, we both decided to kind of spend time at the weekend, talking about our subjects and our field. And I have never been to a farm before in my life, so my impression or my thinking of the farm is something which is like cattle farming, something which is kind of completely remote. And you are probably doing more farming. But when I went to the farm, I was quite surprised to see quite an unusual setup. It was a farm which was probably in a super, remote area, but it was connected through a satellite internet, and the farm had more like a server room. It was more like set up as a research with the library room, and he had like probably over 500 books. And it was quite a bit of an unusual experience for me because I had a different understanding of the farm.
Could you tell us a bit about the topics that you discussed with Dr. Wright in these years?
Yes, so as I mentioned that I was in cybersecurity field and Craig was also in cybersecurity field, and we were both studying cybersecurity as well. So predominantly our discussions was around the cybersecurity, how we see flawed in the current cybersecurity industry, what needs to be done to kind of change it. And we used to have spent a lot of time on discussing the cybersecurity industry and also a lot of other topics. So Craig is a gentleman who has quite a deep knowledge on not only on cybersecurity but broader technology and non-technology related subjects. So we had discussions around most of these topics, from politics to religion to cybersecurity and broader technology, and not only what are the issues in the current industry and what needs to be done to kind of evolve the industry.
More specifically, did you discuss the topic of electronic payments and alternatives
Absolutely.
to traditional banking?
Absolutely. We had quite a few discussions in 2007. The discussion came up that what should be the payment, the digital payment future in the digital world. One of the challenge or one of the kind of issue Craig highlighted back then, which I found quite fascinating. He mentioned that the Visa card, Mastercard, and current payment model is not fully designed or fully not kind of cater the future of the digital world. We need to have a digital platform which can be accepted globally and can be kind of used by everyone as a de facto standard to scale the digital payments. So I find it quite fascinating, and the discussion started as the current weakness in the payment system. And secondly, most important thing, what Craig and I discussed is that how to make sure that this payment model is secure and providing the kind of a reverse technology. And he was quite, critiqued about, the Visa, MasterCard charging, extra amount of, commission and the charges, and it's not really ideal to kind of scale the digital payments.
Did Dr. Wright have any suggestions about how to make alternative systems secure and reliable?
Yes, so he talked about that we end up, spending a lot of time in decentralizing the networks, and if we can kind of, put the power back to the people who own the asset, would be something different. That's number one. Number two, as I mentioned to you, the way he saw the vision of solving this problem is to bring in standardizing the global digital payment platform for the digital world. We should have one single currency in the digital, which can be adopted, which can be kind of accepted globally.
Did you ever receive something in writing about these topics from Dr. Wright?
So Craig and I became very good friends. And Craig, as I mentioned to you, was doing quite a few research. Even when I met him, he was studying with me on one subject, and he was doing a master program on two subjects, and he was spending a lot of his time of research. So in 2007 onwards, he used to send me links, he used to send me articles, he used to send me research paper randomly. What do you think about this? Did see I found something very different about how to secure the energy network. So he used to, as a friend, as a mentor, he used to share with me a lot of stuff.
What specifically do you, to your recollection, recollection, have you ever received or read what has later become known as the Bitcoin white paper?
He might have shared something with me, but I don't recall.
Going on in time, how did the relation between you and Dr. Wright develop? Did you start business together?
Yes, we did, and over a period of time, we had a very. I mean, I was very fascinating with all the ideas and all the kind of research he has done. And back in 2009 and 2010, I was looking to move back to Sydney, and Craig also left BDO by that time. So we decided to kind of, work together and launch a business, and this is what we did.
For how long did that cooperation last?
The cooperation lasted for a few years, but I parted my way within like 10 months.
Yeah, where did you go then?
I went to Malaysia. I found a job, and I took up that job, and I left Sydney around 2011.
Did you meet Dr. Wright again after that?
Yes, I did. So I was in touch with Craig, and Craig mentioned to me that he has, started, taking our vision of the company much more, he's accelerating the business, and he would like to give me an update. So I think around in 2012, I came back to Sydney, and I visited Craig. He invited me to his office, and I visited him there.
And what was the office like then, and what was Dr. Wright working with at that period of time?
I was quite, surprised and astonished when I noticed when Craig asked me to visit his office. I thought it is, first of all, I mean, I was quite happy and proud to see that, Craig has established an office and he's doing something, quite focused. So when I visited office, I was more surprised to see that it was quite a large half-floor office with 40 plus people working for him. He had quite a few meeting rooms. It was a huge setup.
And the area he worked within at that time, what was that?
So Craig gave me a rundown of the business. One was the company which we established, which he was evolving into coin, a digital payment or a platform for security. He gave me a rundown of setting up a technology platform to enable the digital education. So there were like 3 or 4 line of businesses he was working on.
Turning then to 2015, Craig Wright was outed as Satoshi Nakamoto. What was your take on that?
So I learned it like many of us, through the news that Craig has been, labeled as Satoshi. I was not at all surprised. Number one, because I found his intellectual, the capability that he was able to do something like this. Second, it was exactly some of these discussions Craig used to talk about to me. Number three, Craig has been burned, has had a lot of challenges in the past where he was not probably, seen as like the inventor or the kind of, the credentials he has. He was not like recognized by the industry in a right way. So I completely believe that why Craig was always preferred to keep being himself anonymous. So when I first read about it, I was not super surprised, and I felt that this news is probably right.
Thank you, Mr. Yousuf. I have no further questions, but please hang on.
Advokat Haukås. Jeg prøver å styre kameraet her.
Hi, Mr. Yousuf. My name is Örjan Haukås, and I'm the attorney for Mr. Magnus Granath in this case. I'll just ask you a few questions. The company that you started with Dr. Wright, you said that was a company that later turned into Coin. Is that correct?
That's correct.
So that
That was renamed as coin.
at the time you started it, was